we're never going to get to a point where now all of a sudden they're confident. We can't change who they are innately. But what you will get is a dog that instead of having a fearful response and then reacting with an explosion or whatever your dog does, you're going to have a dog that still goes, whew, that was scary. And they're going to look to you and be like, are you okay? And you'll be able to say, you're fine, buddy. And they're going to trust that they'll be fine. And that's what leadership looks like for a fearful dog. Today we're getting into it. What does real leadership look like from the dog's perspective? That's right. Today we're talking about how to lead with trust and not rely on treats. It's a hot topic. Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Well, hello, my dog-loving friend. It's Tracy from Beyond Obedience. Welcome to the Beyond Obedience podcast. This is like my favorite thing to do is to chat with you, talk about dogs. Let's talk about dogs. Let's talk about our dogs building incredible bonds and connection with our dog, making life easy with our dogs. I'm all about the easy. I am all about the easy. I want to come out of the gate with this because this is a hot topic. Anytime I talk about treats, I get a little bit of pushback. And this podcast, Leading with Trust, Not Treats, is no different. So I wanted to maybe take an opportunity today to kind of clarify some things for people. Because I really do believe that in the world of building a bond and connection with our dogs, I believe that the tools that we use, and treats are a tool. It is a tool that we use. So it goes into the category of tools. Okay? I believe that the tools that we use can often become a crutch to our relationship. We become overly dependent upon those tools. And I see that I've lived through it. If you haven't heard the story of Jace and my experience, that incredible 9-day program that I took with my mentor, Nelson Hodges, where we were, I'm going to say forced. We are forced to live with a dog for 9 days without a lot of tools. We had just a collar and a leash, but no crates, no training tools, no nothing. And it was during that time that I realized there was a couple things I realized in that journey, but one of them was this idea that we rely on our training tools as a crutch. And treats are no different. I think sometimes treats get put off into another category in our mind. Like a treat isn't a tool, but it is. It's a tool. It's a tool. It's a rewarding system that we use to get behaviors that we want, right? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it can become a crutch. And I think the reason why I keep bringing it up is because very early on, when I started to talk about this idea of building bonds with dogs rather than training our dogs, many of you came out and said, I just don't want to use as many treats. I feel like all I'm doing is using treats. Or people that took my programs would come back and say, I'm just so glad I'm not using so many treats. And it was interesting to me because treats, generally, I would have thought would have made us feel good, right? The dogs get all happy, they get treats, we feel good because the dogs are happy and doing what we want. But it was this like a reality to find out that people actually felt stuck like they were just a treat pusher. And they knew that deep down that that's not the relationship that they wanted. They wanted something more. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of talk a little bit more about that, because when we're talking about leadership, and again, leadership gets some, gets some negative. I just saw a video too. I'm gonna sigh. I saw a video, and of course, the reason why it got pointed out to me, or the why I watched it, is because they said the word leadership, and then of course in the comments, people just started to rip this trainer apart, because she was using physical touch to tell a little dog to stop jumping on her lap. And people just lost their ever-loving mind. And I was like, oh man, leadership is going to take a beating, right? Because they're going to be like, this is why, when anyone says leadership, you should run for the hills. And I will tell you this flat out, I did not find her video offensive at all. Would I have done it exactly the same way? Maybe not. And that's okay. But I didn't find what she was doing to be like awfully offensive, but everyone in the comments did. And I was like, oh gosh, here we go again with the whole leadership is the devil. Leadership's the enemy. It really isn't. Because we want to really take a look at what real leadership looks like, right? If we think about what leadership looks like from your dog's perspective, if you're looking at real leadership, you're going to end up having a dog that looks to you first when they start to feel unsure or unconfident. If you remember, I told the story about Mariah, my dog Mariah, who was an innately fearful and unconfident dog. And I had worked so hard building that bond with her that it would always offend Mark, because if Mark came home, she would run down the stairs and be like, oh, it's you. And then she'd go back upstairs and patiently wait for me to come home. But that was the big shift in Mariah. She went from a dog that looked like very much like a fearful dog, one that didn't approach people and didn't want to come. And when you should have seen her when she was on leash. Like the day that we brought Wellington and Mariah home, and we had to stop. It was a long drive. We had to stop to let the dogs out, and she couldn't have made herself be more away from me when I first got her. Like she was like anywhere but here, kind of a thing. And in the end, this became a dog that, people couldn't even tell anymore that she was fearful. And she was still an innately unconfident dog. Like I think that is something too that maybe I should talk more about, is this idea of when we're working with dogs that are innately unconfident. And there are some dogs are fearful because of traumatic events, and that's not what I'm talking about necessarily here. But some dogs are just born innately unconfident, and nothing happened to them. And they weren't abused, they weren't beaten, they didn't have anything wrong. They just are innately unconfident. And when we have dogs like that, we're never going to get to a point where now all of a sudden they're confident. We can't change who they are innately. But what you will get is a dog that, instead of having a fearful response and then reacting with an explosion or whatever your dog does, you're going to have a dog that still goes, whew, that was scary. And they're going to look to you and be like, are you okay? And you'll be able to say, you're fine, buddy. And they're going to trust that they'll be fine. And that's what leadership looks like for a fearful dog. So it's not something flashy, right? It's not something flashy or overt that you're going to see. It may start off that way as you're starting to build trusts. Like I've often mentioned this when I'm working with people. It's going to seem exaggerated right now, that you're going to exaggerately put yourself in between the other dog. You're going to exaggerate. You're like, stop, don't come near my dog to other people, all that stuff. But eventually this becomes softer and softer and softer, and your cues become almost known to the dog. It's almost like you have an unspoken communication that ends up developing between you and the dog, because they just know that you've got it. You've proven yourself time and time again that you are advocating for them. Right? So your dog is going to check in with you naturally. They don't need you to hold a cookie or to bribe them with food. They're naturally going to check in with you. They're naturally going to look for you. They're going to feel safe enough to relax in your presence. That's huge. These are those moments where you're like, your leadership is shining through. It's not necessarily something that you're physically doing anymore. It's just there. It's just who you are. It's your relationship. Having a dog that was fearful be able to just calmly lie down behind you while you're talking to a stranger on the street, that's like a million points for you. A million gazillion points for you. If you have a dog that is like, I'm cool because you're there. That's what true leadership looks like, right? When you can lead a dog with calm and consistency, your dog doesn't need to be told what to do. They choose to follow you because you make their world safer. You become their security blanket. Now, if you've been following me for a while, or if you're inside the Fearless framework, you're going to know about the 3 steps, and that we are always working towards step number 3, which is the dog learns to trust themselves. But in the interim, your leadership style is not something that is overt. It's just, it looks like a dog that looks like a dog, just living a dog's life, and you're a part of it, right? And here's the thing, trust is going to beat out treats every single time. This is why I'm not a component, like a component. I'm not an advocate for, relying on treats, because trust is going to be there whether or not you've got treats in your pocket or not. Right? Trust builds resilience, especially with fearful or reactive dogs. Trust is what makes you the most important thing in your dog's world, not your treat pouch. And everyone always has this concern, like when they're asking I know so many people have been like, I've always asked myself the question, would that dog have come back if I wasn't holding a treat? And if you think and you know the answer is no, then we got to figure out why. Can you be somebody worth coming back to? Can you be somebody worth following to a dog? Right? But I want to make this clarification, and this is where it's the sticking point, because people are just like, Tracy's anti-treats. I am not. I am not anti-treats. In fact, in certain situations, I will actually use treats as a temporary bridge. Okay? Treats can be great early on, but they should be bridges and not the final destination. Okay, I want to actually share a story, because I just most recently met a really cool border collie, and incredibly fearful, doesn't like people, doesn't like dogs, all the things, fearful, doing all the fearful, classic fearful dog. But she was obsessed with the ball. Like, she was obsessed with the ball. And what was interesting was the moment that the ball came out, she literally didn't see anything else that was going on around her. The dog that she was previously scared of didn't even see it, right? Things that, like, the environment going on, there's chickens out there moving. She doesn't see them anymore. She just sees the ball. Now that's border collie focus and a little bit of obsession, right? But what I had said to them was, you can totally use that ball as a bridge to help you get to the other side of this while you're building trust. Now, I don't want to use the ball as a bribe and whatnot. I want to use the ball strategically, like we go out and we go on a little adventure together, and then maybe like when we're past a place that, let's say she was uncomfortable and she's feeling uncomfortable, now we play a little bit of ball with her. We have the ball in our pocket. We use the ball. Like, I would say you could probably take this dog for a walk around a whole bunch of other dogs as long as you just held a ball in your hand. But you don't want to do that for the rest of your days. You want to still work on the trust building an incredible bond and connection, and be a trustworthy leader in her life, so that eventually you don't have to rely on that ball. Right. And it would be the same thing with treats. If you had a dog that was very, very food obsessed, and they they didn't see the rest of the world if you were dangling a treat, then use the treats. Treats are the same. They're great for teaching skills and building some trust early on, using it as a bridge. But the goal is to outgrow them. The goal is to build that relationship so that you become that reason, right? The real goal is you want to be the reason and the reward in your dog's life. Because you, my friend, and if I have to keep telling you this, anytime you start to self-doubt yourself, I want you to just think of me like little Tracy on your shoulder that's saying, you are enough. You are enough. You are enough for your dog. You can be the reason and the reward in your dog's life. You can do it with the tools, but we can work towards weaning those tools out. Just remember, if you want to be the reason in your dog's life, that is built through relevance. Does anybody know my pillars of partnership? Right? I have the foundation, or the pillars of partnership. Okay, if you haven't heard the foundation of partnership framework, it's leadership, relevance, fulfillment. 3 things, 3 pillars: leadership, relevance, and fulfillment. We talk a lot about leadership, but I will tell you, the way that you become the reason and the reward in your dog's life, the reason is built through relevance. Relevance is about survival. What do dogs need to survive? Who provides them with food, water, shelter, and social activities? Social is an extremely important part of dogs' survival instincts. They're a very, very social breed, right? Or animal species. So we want to make sure that we are the center of all those things. We are that relevance to them. And reward is built through fulfillment. You need to meet that fulfillment and be a part of it. Right? It's not enough to just let your dog go be fulfilled. How can you be a part of it? When you become part of their fulfillment, you essentially become the reward. And that reward through fulfillment is so much deeper and stronger than any treat you could possibly come up with. And so when you start to work on those things and you build this bond and connection through all of these avenues, then, my friend, the treats become the gravy. You know what one of the common phrases around this house is that, like, when I'll ask the kids to let the dogs out, and I'll be like, let the dogs out. And then they'll come back right away. And I'm like, why are the dogs back in? And they're like, they don't want to go unless you're coming with. They don't want to go. So they go out and they do their business and they come right back in. And I'm like, well, go out and play with them. And they're like, this is what I get all the time from my kids. I'm not you, Mom. They don't care. They don't want to follow me. They don't care. I'm not you, Mom. That's what I get all the time. And it's true, right? And I don't go out and do anything extra special. I literally go out and we walk the perimeter and we find some things, and I don't know. I've just focused so much on building this connection with them that they literally don't want to stay outside unless I'm coming with them. And that's all 7 of them. They'll meander around a little bit, but they come back to the door like, are you coming with? Are you coming with? It's such a beautiful bond and connection to have a dog that says, are you coming with? Right? No treats required for that. No treats required for that. So, couple of questions, right? Couple of questions you might want to ask yourself is the dog following my lead or just following the food? Sometimes that answer might hurt your heart a little. And where can I be more present in this? Where can I today in my life be more present? And I will tell you right now, believe it or not, a lot of it is going to be just, if you're outside with your dogs, be there. Like literally be there. Like I have been, I think because the world is the world today and it's crazy, I have been really trying to be more present when I'm outside with my dogs because it is my escape. So I'll tell you right now, I have noticed every change in the trees, like the budding of the trees. I noticed when the buds first started to come out, I've noticed that they're starting to get more green. I've noticed the bugs. Bugs are coming out. Certainly noticed the ticks. But I'm noticing all of these things. I'm taking a look in nature and also, being so quiet and listening to the birds and just all of it. Just be. Just be with your dogs and be more present, and then go see the things that they're looking at. Go and check out what they're, it's, some of it's going to be gross. I'm not going to lie. Some of it is gross. I don't know how. Well, I do, because she's a dog. I don't know how. This is, if you don't want to hear this gross part of this story, you're a dog lover, so you should be fine with it. But Nike found like a dead, decomposing mouse, and at first, like, she grabbed it and I was like, ooh, what? Like, I saw that it was a tail and I'm like, ooh, right now. Luckily, I was like, ooh, and I was like, drop it, and she did, and I was like, so I pick it up and with the pooper scooper, and wait till she's not looking, because she went after, like, chase after Irie and the ball, and I chucked that thing deep into the woods. Well, as far as you can chuck a decomposing mouse. And then we continued on, and we were going for a little walk, and I look back and there's Nike with the damn thing in her mouth again. And I was like, how did she? Now, I could have been like, ooh, this is disgusting and gross. But instead, I was like, holy moly, like, your nose. And like, when did you find it? Like, I was like, look what you did. You found that again. Like, I chose to take that moment of absolute disgust and turn it into, like, the ability for her, like, because I'm not kidding. She was way far away. She did not see where I threw it. She was not paying attention to where I threw it. I'm sure it stunk pretty well. So, I mean, obviously her nose found it, but she, like, literally went into the woods and found something that I chucked into the woods and brought it back. And so that moment I spent actually regaling in what she found, and then was like, I'm going to have to wait till you're inside. I'm going to have to bury this thing. And guess what? I did. I buried it in rocks, right? Because at the time the ground was still a little bit frozen. So we had this like pile of rocks. So I put her inside. I scooped up the thing again. I pulled out a bunch of rocks. I stuck it down deep in the rocks, put a bunch of rocks on it. And wouldn't you know it, the next day when I was out walking the perimeter with her, she was hell bent on moving those rocks. Like, she was like, I found it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you are amazing. Like, you found the dead thing that I desperately don't want you to find. And I'm amazed with her. I'm amazed with her resilience and her tenaciousness and her drive, and the fact that she can find a dead mouse no matter where I freaking put it. But these are the things. So it's not just, extending the leash and letting them do it. It's like, it's being a part of it, and it's enjoying them for who they are. It's taking the gross thing that disgusts you, and being amazed by it. Find a way to spin it. Find a way to spin it so that you are like, that's amazing. Look what you did. Like, look what you did. Like, you're an athlete. Like, and that's what I say to her all the time. You're a warrior. That's what I call her all the time. I'm like, you're a warrior. Look at the stuff found. Like, I just be a part of it. So there you go. I went off on a tangent there, a little mouse story I was not planning on sharing, but there it is. Listen, the main point is this. Leadership over treats, right? Lead with trust, not treats. And just know that leadership looks like you're doing nothing, right? It'll look like you're doing nothing, but you'll know it, and your dog will know it. And it's a beautiful thing. Listen, if you want help with that, if you want help with that whole process and learning to really lean into this lifestyle with your dog, highly encourage you to jump into the Fearless Framework. Come on over. The water's warm. We are getting weird. You have to be willing to get weird. You have to say things like, that was great that you got that dead mouse. You have to get a little weird with it, but come on over to the Fearless Framework. Learn how to lead with trust and not rely on treats, using treats strategically within your relationship. Maybe as a bridge, maybe as a temporary bridge, but knowing that the end result doesn't rely on a pocket full of treats, because you are enough. You're enough. I'm going to keep telling you that. I'm going to keep showing up and telling you that, friend, until you believe it yourself. You are enough. Be the reason and the reward in your dog's life. Hey, listen, if you liked this episode, can you do me a favor and head on over to Apple Podcasts and give me a 5-star written review? It really does help to push this podcast out to more dog lovers like you and I. Hanging out with more dog lovers is what I want to do. So if you could do that, or you can comment, share this episode on your socials, whatever you can do, I would truly appreciate it. As always, get out there today, my friend, and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you're amazing, and so do I. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only and is not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you're really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.